In the small, sleepy town of Eldermere, a sense of unease had begun to creep through the community, centering on the Abernathy family. Martha Abernathy noticed a disturbing change. Her young son, Samuel, once lively and joyful, Samuel had grown sullen and withdrawn, his eyes now holding a dark, disturbing glint. Martha could feel an unnatural chill in his presence. "Samuel, sweetheart, are you feeling all right?" Martha asked one morning, her voice trembling with concern. Samuel's gaze met hers, his eyes cold and unblinking. "I'm fine, Mother," he replied, his voice devoid of emotion. Martha shivered and turned away, deciding to seek help from the local priest, Father Donovan, who had served the town faithfully for many years. Father Donovan listened patiently as Martha poured out her fears. "I will come to your home this evening," he said, placing a reassuring hand on Martha's shoulder. "We will see what can be done." As the sun dipped below the horizon, Father Donovan made his way to the Abernathy home. When he arrived, Martha greeted him with a mix of relief and apprehension. "He's in his room," she whispered. Father Donovan nodded and made his way upstairs, his heart pounding. As he approached Samuel's room, he could feel a palpable sense of malevolence emanating from within. Taking a deep breath, he opened the door and stepped inside. Samuel sat on his bed, his eyes fixed on the wall opposite him. "Samuel," Father Donovan said gently, "I've come to help you." The boy's head turned slowly, a chilling smile spreading across his lips. "Help me," he echoed, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "You cannot help me, priest." Father Donovan raised a crucifix. "In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, I command you to leave this child." Samuel's laughter filled the room, a sound so sinister it seemed to echo off the walls. "You are a fool," he sneered. "This boy belongs to me now." Father Donovan's grip tightened on the crucifix. "I will not allow it," he declared. "In the name of God, I cast you out." The room grew colder, and a dark mist began to swirl around Samuel. The boy's eyes glowed with an unholy light as he stood, his body trembling with rage. "You think you can banish me?" he roared. "You are nothing compared to my power." With a sudden, violent movement, Samuel lunged at Father Donovan, knocking the holy symbol from his hand. Samuel's hands closed around Father Donovan's throat. The priest struggled, gasping for breath, but the boy's grip was ironclad. Desperation filled Father Donovan's mind as he reached for the vial of holy water in his pocket. With a final, desperate effort, Father Donovan managed to uncork the vial and splash its contents onto Samuel's face. The boy screamed in agony, releasing his grip on the priest and staggering backward. Smoke rose from his skin where the holy water had touched him, and the room filled with the stench of burning flesh. Father Donovan fell to his knees, coughing and wheezing. "By the power of Christ, I command you to leave this child," he shouted. Samuel's screams grew louder, and the mist began to dissipate. For a moment, it seemed as though the exorcism was working. But then, with a final, ear-piercing shriek, the darkness surged forward, engulfing Father Donovan completely. Martha, who had been watching from the doorway, screamed as the dark mist enveloped the priest. "Father Donovan," she cried, rushing into the room. But it was too late. The darkness had claimed its new host. Father Donovan's body convulsed, and his eyes glowed with the same unholy light that had possessed Samuel. He turned to face Martha, a twisted smile on his lips. "The priest is gone," the demon hissed. "Now, I am free." Martha stumbled backward. "No," she whispered. "This cannot be." In a final act of desperation, Martha grabbed the crucifix from the floor and held it up. "In the name of God, I command you to leave." The demon's laughter faltered. Its form flickered, and for a moment, Father Donovan's face emerged, a look of agony in his eyes. "Help me," he whispered, his voice barely audible. Martha's resolve hardened, and she advanced, holding the crucifix aloft. "By the power of Christ, I banish you back to the darkness from whence you came." The demon's form wavered, and it let out a final, ear-splitting scream before vanishing into the air. Father Donovan collapsed to the floor, his body limp and lifeless. Martha dropped to her knees beside him, tears streaming down her face. "Father Donovan," she sobbed, "I'm so sorry." But as she reached out to touch his hand, a faint pulse of life stirred beneath her fingers. The priest's eyes fluttered open, and he looked up at her with a weak but grateful smile. "Martha," he whispered, "you did it.